for Collision.
See, I even put my hand out like that, so you knew it was real.
Hell yeah, he's got the rope.
Tagged in. All right, so Collision. There was a lot on Collision. Actually, it was far more packed with wrestling than Dynamite was. So I'm gonna try and go through this as quickly as I can because we still got the hot tag to do too. So
Right.
match number one was Darby Allin versus Johnny TV. Good getting Morrison on TV. Darby wins by pinfall kind of abruptly. TV had most of the offense and did some really cool stuff too. Like I would go check out this match because as much as I've seen him, John Morrison, Johnny TV, Johnny Mundo, whatever you want to call him, like he still comes up with new ways to surprise you, and that makes him the perfect opponent for Darby Allin, who comes up with new ways to get hurt all the time. I would really like them to see them run this back. As it stands, Darby wins with a coffin drop on Johnny, who was standing. So he was in standing position, and he took the coffin drop, and he took
Ooh.
the bump all the way to the floor of the mat with it, which I thought was interesting.
All right.
Afterwards, Allen reiterates his open challenge. Nobody answers initially, and he calls the locker room complacent, which. So he starts to walk up the ramp, only to be attacked by Brody King.
Oh shit.
Yeah, who destroys him and then accepts his challenge.
Oh, fuck. All right. I love Brody
Yeah.
King, so this
I
is
knew
awesome.
you do. I know you do.
Yeah, I'm a big
I
fan.
told you. I told you. You
Yeah,
love that.
I love that. Okay, yeah. The person I was gonna predict, yeah, no, I'll take Brody King. We're good
Nope.
here.
Segment number one is a pre-taped video package with the FT runners. So it's that low res stuff, like all the other Outrunners video packages. So it's got the cheesy music and everything. It's shot like one of those '80s promos, like low budget '80s promos. FTR prove they have the stuff to the Outrunners by working out with them and tanning with them, except that the tanning was in overcast skies, and they dyed Dax's mustache blonde.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. I was like,
and
oh
then
my gosh.
they all did the Predator handshakes as they confirmed that they did indeed have the stuff.
The stuff.
And then the 80s style graphics comes as like the Outrunners and the FTR, they kind of combine like in the center of the screen to form FT Runners. It's brilliant. Match number two was the Outrunners versus Grizzled Young Veterans. Went much different than their previous match because now the Outrunners are popular. The Outrunners win by pinfall when Truth Magnum uses a victory roll on Zach Gibson. This was a good match. Gets another thumbs up from me, just like the first match. Yeah, like it was good. Go seek it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on here. You should definitely seek out. Segment number two was a pre-tape video package hyping up Britt Baker. She does the voiceover saying that she's back to chasing the women's world title after never getting a proper rematch after losing to Thunder Rosa 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Will be at Title Tuesday waiting for Mariah May. That's not a match that's set up. That's just I'm gonna be there if you are gonna be there. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
So segment number three, Lexi Nair interviews the conglomeration and Willow Nightingale. I'm not really sure if she's a part of it or not. She's not on the t-shirt, so I'm going to say that she's an associate, not part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
But they should put her on the t-shirt.
Yes.
Willow is also coming for Mariah May, but has Trish Adora tonight. Then they give it to Mark Briscoe, who says that he in his serious voice that he'll take care of Jericho soon.
Ooh.
And then he switches back to classic Mark Briscoe and says, but Orange and Kyle O'Reilly have the premier athletes tonight, and does his normal amazing Mark Briscoe thing. Match number three is Willow versus Trish Adora. Great match. Like, I'll go over it later, but Willow wins via pinfall after the Babe with the powerbomb. Afterwards, Willow confronts Mariah May, who was watching at ringside, who had amazing facial expressions. They cut to her like every couple of minutes for her face to comment on what was going on in the ring. And I think Nigel at one point said that they could make a set of baseball cards out of them. And honestly, for somebody who's, English and doesn't know crap about baseball, he's still right about that.
He's still right. Yeah. Okay.
Like they really could. Her facial expressions are incredible. She's right up there with like Vince McMahon in terms of like selling something with her face.
Yeah.
That's high praise. Sort of. I mean, what I mean.
Yeah. We don't like to compare.
Praise.
Yeah, we know why it's high praise. And
we're parsing the character and the abilities from the man.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Please don't get angry on me on the internet saying that I think she's a pervert or anything. Like, no.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you won't be able to take this out of context because I have receipts.
Yes. Yes. Willow confronts Mariah May at ringside, and they brawl a little bit. And Willow gets the upper hand, and it looks like she's gonna do the babe with the power bomb onto the steel steps. Ooh. But Mariah slides out the back and heads up the ramp. She hightails it.
Okay.
Segment number 4, interview with Wheeler Yuta. Yuta barely has any chance to say anything before Claudio comes out and kicks Alicia out. And he's like, yeah, this is between me and him. And then he lets Yuta kind of lay into him verbally about how he wasn't in on it, and how this wasn't what we were supposed to be, and this, that, the other thing. And then he kind of lets him do his thing, and then Claudio says that he's never steered him wrong, and what did Brian ever really do for him, and that he'd always have his back. So building more tension, making it seem like there's a chance that Yuta could turn on Danielson too. I don't know if I believe that, but I like that they're building uncertainty.
I felt that way a little bit.
Well, then it's good because that's clearly the aim that they're going for.
Yeah.
So clearly that segment worked.
Yeah.
Lexi interviews Mariah May next. Segment number 5. This was backstage. It wasn't in like an official, like, where they usually have their interviews. It seemed like they just caught her while she was heading back to her locker room or something. She's wicked ticked off, like really just laying it, like running down Willow, running down Baker, before Christopher Daniels comes from off screen and accuses her of prompting these fights, because this isn't the first time that she's stood ringside and watched matches and kind of gotten in it. He's like, you're prompting these fights as an excuse to not having to defend your title, because then you can say that they don't deserve it because they're acting unprofessionally or whatever. So he's like, okay, so for Title Tuesday next week on Dynamite, it's going to be Willow versus Baker, and that's a number 1 contenders match. So whoever wins that gets the World Women's title shot at Wrestle Dream.
Man, why they gotta do that to me? Because I want it to be Willow and I want it to be Britt, but we stand Willow in this house, so Willow, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get to that later. Match number 4, World Trios Champion Wheeler Yuta versus Beef.
This guy.
Beef gets a couple of shots in here and there, but mostly this is the Wheeler Yuta show. He gets the hammer and anvil elbows, and Beef does a great job of selling it. He's selling it like he got legit knocked out, because once he slapped the cattle mutilation on that afterwards, he was kind of like, kind of flop around like a fish, but he did not tap out. It was like it was implied that he was knocked out before that was applied. That hold was even applied.
Oh wow!
So like he's selling Wheeler's stuff really well. Thumbs up mostly because I like the angle where it was going, but it was as a match, it served more as an angle.
Yeah.
Segment number 6, Lexi interviews Hook, who only 2 days ago found out about it and issued his challenge to find out whoever attacked his dad, is already impatient and challenges whoever attacked Taz to show up on Title Tuesday. Didn't challenge him to a match. He's like, come face me. So I assume it's going to be more of a face-to-face segment. They're going to reveal that is, in my opinion, probably Christian Cage. By the way, quick interjection. Get well soon. Kill Switch slash Luchasaurus got freaking pneumonia or something.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I heard. Yeah.
awful crap. Get better soon, big guy.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Match number 5 was Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly of the Conglomeration versus Premier Athletes Tony Nese and Ari Daivari. Uh, they did the thing. The Premier Athletes did the thing where Sterling interrupts the introduction and tries to get the crowd to chant "Athletes rule" or whatever it is, and they, of course, they say "Athletes suck." So I mean, it's cheap heat, but you know what? Tony
Yeah,
Nese works freaking hard, and like for somebody without, I mean, he's super talented, doesn't have much of a personality, but he's
yeah,
one of those really, really dependable hands that can make anybody look good, and all his offense looks good. So like, yeah, put him on TV, give him that shot.
yeah.
And Ari Daivari is kind of underrated too. I feel
A little bit.
like he's a good hand. Um,
Yeah.
Winners are Cassidy and O'Reilly via pinfall. Cassidy hits with the orange punch, uh, and then with the beach break, and he's pinning him while in the background. O'Reilly has Davari and guillotine choke. It's one of those things where that's not the actual fall. The pinfall is the actual fall of the match, but the pinfall is taking place as Davari is tapping out. So it's like
Oh,
they both contribute
yeah.
kind of.
Right.
And thumbs up. This was a really fun match. Thumbs up to that too. Segment number 7 was another one of these. Lance Archer beats up a bunch of dudes in the back, but doesn't have a match because apparently he showed up to work and didn't get work again. Uh, this time it was in the back. It was like on the in the parking lot area where all the trucks were and everything. Uh, Weird thing. He's approached by Don Callis, and he's like, "Hey, gotta ask you a question. Are you still represented by Jake the Snake?" And he beats up the last dude, throws him into the truck, and he goes back over. And he's like, "Yes," and he walks off. Weird segment. Very strange. Not sure what that served. Um,
Maybe Jake the Snake will show back up at some point.
uh, Segment 8. Lexi interviews Mercedes Monet and Camille. Double interviews this week for those two. Monet puts herself over and says Camille is uh, more than a woman. She's unstoppable. But of course, she said more than a woman. So Chris Statlander comes out from the side, referring to herself. I think I caught this as born again Kristen. Uh, Challenges that notion and tells them to watch her match tonight. I'll get. I'll get. I'll talk more about that at the end.
Oh, okay.
Match number 6 though was a 4-way match: Hologram versus Commander versus Nick Wayne versus Action Andretti. Lots of cool stuff here. Hologram gets the win because they're not having him lose anytime soon. He has a finisher now. He
Okay.
put Andretti on his back in torture rack position and then did like an airplane spin. So like the longest spinning blue thunder bomb that you've ever seen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he actually pins him with a version of a blue thunder bomb, which never pins anybody. Just got Simon Miller.
Yeah.
I'm sure when I see his ups and downs on this, that he's gonna be beside himself that he
He
can't
might.
say that about the blue thunder bomb anymore. But yeah, thumbs way up for this match. Lots of cool stuff. Andretti getting pinned, sells that storyline that he's still kind of in his own way despite his best efforts.
Mm.
So that keeps going. Nick Wayne doesn't get pinned. They're kind of giving him a little bit of a push now too, so they protected him. I was surprised Commander didn't take the pin actually, but actually Andretti got it, and that furthers his storyline. So good there.
Yeah.
Segment number 9, Lexi interviews the Beast Mortos. You've seen this segment. I know you have
Yeah,
because
because
you
I
sent it to
tagged
me on
you.
Twitter today.
Yes, I did, and
So
it
I
was
don't have to tell it to
fantastic.
you. But yeah, basically Lexi asks him what's the deal with him, like just kind of shacking up with anybody who wants to tag with him,
Being a
and
little
all he
slutty.
does is roar. Roar, roar. And then the Undisputed Kingdom comes in and it's like, hey man, why are you cheating on us? Like, and especially Taven, who's really put some effort into investing in progressing Mortos's character with this Frank Mortos attorney at Roar bit, which I
Hmm.
absolutely adore.
He slipped in a man
Um,
bear pig reference also, which
yes, a Man Bear Pig reference.
I was
Yes, yes,
totally
yes,
like
yes.
laughing my ass off. That was great.
Uh, yeah, it was
You're
great.
still on retainer.
Didn't
Uh,
Yes, that was the line. That was the favorite, my favorite line. You're still on retainer. I'm mad at you, but you're still my lawyer.
right?
Uh, but the best part though was Mortos at the end. Just he even he sold it with his whole body. Because you
Hmm.
have to when your whole face is covered in a mask, and I think he did it really well. That he was just confused, and I feel like he wants some stability, and I hope he finds it.
Yeah,
I don't care where it is. Like I liked the idea last week of him being with LFI,
yeah,
and now I don't care where he winds up. I just want to see him happy and doing Beast Mortos things on my TV.
yeah. Exactly. I always need more of that.
Dude's great.
Yeah.
Match number 7 was Chris Statlander versus Zoe Lynn. Basic squash match. I don't think it even lasted 2 minutes. Afterwards, Monet and Camille came back, talked a little smack, got in there, and Chris held her own for a little bit, but then Camille did the brick house thing and just smashed her. Looks like her finish is being called the Road to Damascus, which is a
Okay.
rolling cutter, but like not crossroads, goes the other way, so it's more of a roll of the dice kind of deal.
Okay.
So yeah, that was that. Segment number 10, uh, Darby reacts backstage to what happened earlier in the night. He lays out his history with Brody King. He's never pinned Brody King. Like, he put him in a coffin. He said that
Mm,
he thought that would be enough, but looks like despite the fact that apparently, according at least to this storyline, Darby Allin, not Malachi Black, is the reason that Brody King has a job with AEW, because Darby went out of his way to talk to Tony Khan and says, you have to get this guy. So
oh,
layers, I like it,
yeah, I do
but
too.
it's like, so it's painting Brody King as kind of almost ungrateful,
Mm.
kind of, sort of. I mean, not by demeanor, but by implication.
Yeah.
Um, and so he's asking for a face-to-face uh, meeting before Wrestle Dream.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get another segment to further that storyline before the pay-per-view. Segment number 11 was a pre-taped video package hyping the return of Emi Sakura, who I love Emi Sakura. I was wondering where she was. I guess she's just been wrestling in Japan for the last several months, but she's
Yeah.
coming back on Title Tuesday to face Monet for the TBS title, and I'm all for that. I'm
Yeah, I'm here
totally
for
all
it.
for that. Um, Match number 6 was the main event. Number 1 contendership match: Private Party versus the House of Black versus Top Flight. Winner gets the Young Bucks at Wrestle Dream for the belts.
Okay.
House of Black in this case was, of course, Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews. Brody King has got his own stuff, clearly.
Right.
Uh, this was good. I mean, this was good stuff. You can't really have a bad match with all the people that are involved in this. Like,
Hmm.
they're gonna do some stuff. House of Black dominated most of it. Anytime they were in the ring, they were they didn't win, but they were protected as they usually are in
Hmm.
defeat. I think that's why Top Flight was there, so
Maybe.
that House of Black didn't have to take the
So
pin.
they didn't take the
Uh,
pin. Yeah.
but Private Party hits gin and juice on Dante and gets the win well after they had taken out House of Black on the outside. Thumbs up, good stuff. It gives a reason to put Private Party in that spot. Um, yeah. So as far as wrapping things up with things I like, things that didn't, I love the focus on the women's division in this episode. There
Hmm.
were, even though one was a squash, there were still 2 women's matches. You had a couple more segments on top of that.
Yeah.
You had Trish Adora really made the most of her time. She looked fantastic, and Willow was so giving to her. And the match went on for a while. It lasted through a commercial break. So, I mean, I really hope that they kind of call up Trish from ROH, if you want to look at it that way,
Yeah.
because that girl was very impressive. She really took that opportunity by the horns and made a very good case for herself. So,
Right.
kudos to Trisha Doris specifically. Like, I always knew that she was talented, but this was a showcase for her. The segments, like the non-wrestling segments, were really good. Like the FTR runners was amazing. Darby's stuff, furthering his feud, and giving that little background of Brody King. I love lore. Give me more lore. Yes, by all means.
Okay. Yeah.
The Beast Mortos stuff, fantastic. We're doing something with them. That's great.
Right.
Um, the downside, I'm not really sure where they're going with Statlander. Like, all of a sudden, she's without Stokely Hathaway.
Which I'm okay with that.
She seems to be turning babyface
Yeah.
after
Like.
that long program of establishing her as a heel. Like, I'm grateful for the focus on the women, but I'm wondering where the heck this is going. Like, this, honestly, the women's focus is there, but it's all over the place. Like, Statlander is now a babyface by default for no reason other than what Monet doesn't have a decent challenger for her TBS title that she hasn't already beaten. Is that what we're going with? Like, I
Uh,
don't get it. What if, Britt Baker and Willow Nightingale? I love both of them, but they both lost in TBS title shots. How come they're getting inserted so quickly in the world title scene? They lost to the lesser champion. What makes you? I don't understand. Willow, as much as I love her, lost that blow off match to Statlander, and which wasn't for a title at all.
mm-hmm.
So she should be down in the rankings. She shouldn't be. I love that they're getting TV time. I love that they're getting
Mm-hmm.
focus. I do think the creative needs to be more focused on the focus, though.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Right.
I'm wondering if maybe maybe they had plans with Thunder Rosa, but she got concussed, and she's on the mend, and so that this is kind of, they're cobbling things together
Yeah.
until they're waiting for her to come back. I don't know, but like, I don't understand it. I wish I had a way to fix it, because I believe in constructive criticism, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know what their thought process is here more than anything. So I don't know
Um,
how to recommend anything
I think a pretty
to it.
good guess is to the thought process is that Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida are both working in Japan right now, and who's our I mean, because those are the two that I would put in there. Were they available? If they're not available, who would you go
Yeah,
with next? I would go. I mean, Britt and Willow makes sense in that frame of mind.
yeah,
But honestly, looking at the available rankings, Willow still seems to be on top of things. So.
yeah. I mean, if you there is, I made an oblique reference to him, to this gentleman, or
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's a dude. I don't actually know that, but uh, the tag on Twitter is at AEW_rankings.com.
mm-hmm.
And, he, with every AEW show, they essentially update the rankings where AEW has largely left them to the wayside, at least externally. Like, they still list their records on the bottom third when they come to the ring and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you compare the numbers to who's getting title shots, and they mostly line up, unless there's like a storyline reason where they wouldn't. But like,
Yeah.
Post Collision, the power rankings that this guy has put up, which are usually pretty accurate to how they're booked, it has obviously Mariah May as the world title holder, Mercedes is the TBS champion, Willow is ranked number one in the division after that at 13-4 on the year, which, I
Yeah.
mean, okay, that makes sense. Deonna Purrazzo is number two at 12-6. Where's she? I mean, she's a heel, so I mean,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I
think
guess maybe
it's
not.
probably the heel thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Statlander's in at number 3. She would be in contention.
Hmm.
Sheeta, you said, is in Japan, so she's the. And then number 5 at 4-0 is Camille, who's definitely not going to challenge anytime soon. After that, I don't know, maybe it would be rushing it, but Jamie Hayter at 3-0 is still higher on these rankings than Britt Baker at number 8 at 3-1. What are we doing? I mean, Hayter just finished up a feud. Why are we not putting her in there?
Yeah, I thought she would be the next feud
What
for
about?
that.
I mean, we can always build up Nyla.
Oh yeah.
What's going on? I don't.
Why not?
I love that the women are getting more time, but I feel like something probably happens to kind of slap things together, and it feels that way.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe there's nothing to be done about it. Maybe we just have to wait until more women in the division become available again.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, as far as the thing that I took away from this episode that wasn't so great, it was kind of the haphazard way that their storyline seemed to be going in that division, because
Hmm.
it almost doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That being said, to end on a positive note, Emi Sakura is back. Emi, no, I mean,
I love Emi Sakura just for her pure
yeah,
meanness. She's mean as hell, and I love it.
for our listeners, I look at Emi Sakura. I think she has such a great body of work. What she is. She is the Natalia of AEW, because you put her in, she's got 20 years or almost 30 years of experience now. She's got a ton of experience. She goes in there, she makes everybody look good. She has great matches with anybody.
That's true.
But she's still the person that's the stepping stone. She's
Hmm.
still she's still the Worf effect. You beat
Right.
her and then you look good. Oh man, you beat Emi Sakura, even though she never wins the belt. She's that talent. That's their biggest attribute, their biggest positive attribute and contribution is making others.
Hmm.
So, in that respect, I feel like she's like Natalia in WWE. She's not the one who holds the belt. She's the stepping stone for somebody. If you can hang with her, if you can hang with Natalia, and if you can hang with Emi Sakura and look good against her, and if they endorse you, then yeah, okay, we'll run with you for a little while. She's so valuable to that locker room, and
Yep.
I love her very, very much. And I'm very excited to see her back, and I really hope that I mean, she's not going to win the TBS title from Mercedes on Tuesday, but I really hope that they do something with her more than just having her show up from random matches every 3 months, you know, like she
Right.
had been. Like, she was a fixture on Dark and Dark Elevation when that was the thing. And since that
Hmm.
might be coming back, maybe that's where she'll wind up again. But I mean, we assume that it might come back because Rampage is going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really hope they do something with her, because girls earned it for
Oh yeah,
sure.
for sure. For sure. Totally awesome. I'm
All
glad to
right,
see Emi Sakura back.
time for the hot tag.
Oh God, come on, give it to me. Yeah.